Hi, my name is Jorge Tetzera. This is my audience. Do you know that you've probably been studying wrong this whole entire time? Well, don't blame yourself. Most students aren't taught how to study properly in the first place. Studying involves many factors, such as your study environment, how you study, and breaks that you should be taking while you're studying. I'll be going over things you should do in order to study properly. Now, you should consider before studying exercising or relaxing. Studies show that our brain gets a power boost after a workout. Since when you work out, oxygen and nutrients is brought to the brain. According to Dr. Douglas B. McKee, working out before studying will make it so that you're more alert, open, and prone to learning new information. Relaxing before studying is also very beneficial since it lowers your stress levels so that stress doesn't get in the way of your learning. Another thing you should consider when studying is listening to music. Music is known to make you concentrate and focus more on what you're focusing on. Many experts agree that listening to classical or lo-fi beat music does help make you focus on the task. Another thing that you could consider doing or changing is your study environment. Studies have shown that changing your study environment can help increase recall performance, meaning you'll be able to remember things from when you studied. Now, studying involves more than just rereading information and just trying to memorize. To learn new information, you need to actively engage in the material. To actively study, it requires you to do more than just highlight, reread, and memorize. Examples of actively studying are tasks such as creating your own study guide, creating your own quiz, and becoming a teacher. All these tasks require you to engage in the material. In fact, being a teacher helps you learn a concept pretty well, since when you try to explain an idea as if you were a teacher, you are more likely to understand it a lot better. Another method that you can use to learn information is the PQ4R method. The PQ4R is an acronym that stands for a 6-step process. Those 6 steps are to preview, question, read, reflect, recite, and to review. The first step is to preview over the information before reading. So you only skim through the headings, subheadings, and highlighted text to get a grasp of what the topic will be about. The second step is to question. Essentially, in this process, you would want to ask yourself questions related to the topic. Questions that you could ask just to get started would be, what do you expect to learn, and what do you already know about this topic? The third step would be to read. For this step, you essentially want to just read the information one section at a time and try identifying all the answers to your questions. The fourth would be to reflect. Basically, once you've answered most of your questions, you want to reflect and see if you haven't found the answer to some of those questions. That is basically what you want to do for the reflecting side. The next thing you need to do is recite. For reciting, you essentially just summarize the information you read, whether through speaking or writing. And lastly, the last step to the process is to review. To review the information is to double check all of what you've done. Basically to see if you're missing some answers to some of your questions, stuff like that, to just double check. Next would be for practice tests. Practice tests is another thing you can incorporate for studying. Practice tests are used mostly to maintain information. A 2011 study found that students that took practice tests were more likely to maintain more information than students who didn't take practice tests. These are pretty much all the steps you can use to study, or all the proper steps you could take to study. Altogether, this is pretty much all you need to properly study. Here's my audience, and yeah.